Blessings to everyone from Reach Souls Films. This is part 2 of the video that I'm doing this evening, which is called Rape Does Not Define Me. I Am Somebody. Coming from Second Samuel chapter 13 verses 1 through 22. And the following verses that I'm gonna be going over now is gonna be verses 12 through 22. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into the lesson. And as I've said many times before, please read and study these scriptures for yourself. I will be reading from the New International Version. And starting at verse 12, it says this: "Don't, my brother," she said, "don't force me. Such a thing should not be done in Israel. Don't do this wicked thing. What about me? Where could I get rid of my disgrace? And what about you? You would be like the one of the wicked fools in Israel. Please speak to the king. He will not keep me from being married to you." But he refused to listen to her. Since he was stronger than she, he raped her. Then Amnon hated her with intense hatred. In fact, he hated her more than he loved her. Amnon said to her, "Get up and get out." Whew. Now, love and lust are very different things. After Amnon raped his own sister, his love turned to hate. Amnon was possessed and controlled by lust. Love is patient. Lust requires immediate satisfaction. Love is kind. Lust is harsh. Love does not demand its own way. Lust does. Lust may feel like love at first sight, but when physically expressed, it results in self-disgust and hatred of the other person. And the following verses that I just went over are verses 14 and 15. The fourth tip: know the difference between love and lust. And I just described that in the following verses that I just went over. And in verse 16 it says this: "No," she said to him, "sending me away would be a greater wrong than what you have already done to me." But he refused to listen to her. Now, rape was strictly forbidden by God. Amnon tried to make sure of what Amnon tried to do. He tried to make himself look good by throwing her out. Amnon made it look as if Tamar made a shameful proposition to him. And there were no witnesses on her behalf because he had gotten rid of all of the servants. His crime destroyed her chance of marriage because she was no longer a virgin. She could not be given in marriage. Some of you, in the fifth tip, some of you have had the same thing to happen to you. what happened to Tamar. You know you were raped, and you didn't do anything wrong at all. But the rapist will do everything that he can to make himself look good, and will even spread rumors about you. Tamar couldn't even be married after this. And she couldn't, and Tamar couldn't even move past this. But you can move past this. No matter what they said about me, no matter what they did to me, rape does not define me. I am somebody. And coming to this point in this video, I'm gonna give my own personal testimony of the sexual assault that I went through. And I went through sexual assault about 10 years ago. I met this guy and everything. I didn't know anything about him and everything. And at the time, I was going to school at the junior college. That's about 10 miles from here. It's not that far from here. And went to my class and everything, and got out of class and everything, and we went and went riding in his car, not knowing I'm not knowing what's going on, But we got to a certain spot, and he parked the car, and then he started touching me in my private area. And he grabbed me, and he sat me on his lap, and he started touching me in my private area, and I kept telling him to stop, and he didn't. And he kept on, and then he got to the point where he stopped, and we went back to the junior college of where my car was parked. And I was getting ready to get out of his car to get in my car to go home, because I was already finished with my classes for that particular day. And as I was getting out of the car, he gave me one of the most sinister looks this side of creation. It took me 10 years to get delivered from that, and because of that experience, before I even came back to the Lord, I did my share of drugs. I'm not gonna lie. I did my share of drugs. I started smoking cigarettes. I was drinking, smoking. I started smoking too much. I started drinking too much. And I would do sleeping pills, and I even tried it, and I even tried marijuana a few times. But thanks be to the good Lord now. The Lord, He has set me free from all of that stuff. I don't even have a desire to do those things anymore. And now I'm finally over that. The Lord has set me free from that. And if the Lord can set me free and help me to get over that terrible experience, I know that he can help you too. And that's the truth. The only reason why I'm doing this video is because I want to help people to get set free from whoever is dealing with this issue, and they're wondering how in the world are they gonna get out. I just gave that part of my testimony in order to help somebody, and I pray only to the good Lord above that it does, because for a long time I didn't tell anybody. I held that secret in for the longest. And now that I'm free, I want to see other people free too. Yes, indeed. And now I'm going back to the lesson. Verse 17. He called his personal servant and said, "Get this woman out of here and bolt the door after her." So his servant put her out and bolted the door after her. She was wearing a richly ornamented robe, for this was the kind of robe the virgin daughters of the king wore. Tamar put ashes on her head and went away, weeping aloud as she went. Her brother Absalom said to her, "Has that Amnon, your brother, been with you?" "Be quiet now, my sister. He is your brother. Don't take this thing to heart." And Tamar lived in her brother Absalom's house, a desolate woman. Now in verse 20, Absalom tried to comfort her, basically told her not to turn this into a public scandal. Absalom told Tamar the crime was only a family matter, but God's standards are not suspended when we deal with family matters. Tip number 6. When this happens, people in your own family may say to you, "What goes on in this house stays in this house." No, whatever is hurting you in that house, go and get help right away. Start by talking about it to a trusted family member. Talk to a trusted friend who has a great relationship with God, and talk to them about it. Just try and just do that. Just do that, because the more that you talk about it, the better that you will feel. And I feel and I feel better about it, because I know for years I was ashamed of that, because for a long time I really did feel like that was my fault that it had happened. And now that I'm free, I don't even think about that anymore. Now that I'm free, I want to see other people. I want to help other people to get free as well. Yes, indeed. In verses 21 and 22, it says this: "When King David heard all this, he was furious. Absalom never said a word to Amnon, either bad or good. He hated Amnon because he had disgraced his sister Tamar." Now, in these verses here, David was angry with Amnon for raping Tamar, but he did nothing about it. David probably hesitated because he didn't want to cross Amnon, who was his firstborn, and therefore next in line to be king. David was guilty of a similar sin with his adultery with Bathsheba. David was unsurpassed as a king and military leader, but lacked skill and sensitivity as a husband and a father. And the seventh tip is this: you may have been raped and nothing was done about it. Just like in my testimony that I just gave just a few minutes ago, nothing was done about it. But getting back to this tip here, this is tip number 7. You may have been raped and nothing was done about it. People may not have believed you, or whatever the situation is. Do this every day. Look in the mirror at yourself and say, rape does not define me. I am somebody. I can and I will move past this in the name of Jesus. And I know how bad, and I know how bad it hurts. Because I felt that pain for a long time. And in that way, yes, I was abused, but I'm determined every day. And all of the rest of you that are watching this video, be determined every day to move past that and to move on. Don't hold on to it. Let it go, because the more you hold on to it, it's gonna do nothing but hurt you. Just let it go. And just realize that I am, and just realize and just say to yourself, rape does not define me. I am somebody. Because I know how that pain is. But from this day forward, make it your power to say to yourself every day, just say to yourself, I'm moving on with my life. This is not gonna stop me. This is not gonna hold me back. Rape does not define me. I am somebody. You can move past this in the name of Jesus. But coming to the end of this video, and this is the end of part 2. I just pray to the good Lord above that this video can be a blessing to everyone watching. I really and truly do. But coming to the end of this video, from everyone at Rich Souls Films, everyone be blessed, stay committed to Jesus and to doing His will.